Have you ever caught yourself replaying your mistakes over and over again, like a broken record that won't stop reminding you of who you used to be? You tell yourself you're not good enough. You compare your progress to others. You dwell on what could have been. And before you know it, that small voice inside your head becomes your worst enemy. But here's the truth the Stoics knew long before psychology caught up. Your thoughts are not reality. They are just stories you keep repeating. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic minds, once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If your thoughts are poisoned by negativity, self-doubt, and regret, your world becomes a reflection of that darkness. But if you train your mind to see clarity, control, and reason, even pain becomes your teacher, and every setback becomes a tool for growth. So in this video, we're going to explore 10 Stoic rules to stop negative self-thinking and rewire your mind. These aren't just motivational quotes. They're ancient psychological weapons designed to free you from your inner chaos, silence that voice of self-sabotage, and help you build the kind of mindset that no negativity can break. Stay until the end, because the 10th rule is what Marcus Aurelius himself used to maintain inner peace, even while leading an empire at war. Let's begin. Rule 1. You are not your thoughts. The Stoics believed that the greatest illusion in life is thinking that we are our thoughts. Most people live as prisoners inside their own minds, mistaking every thought, fear, or impulse for truth. But here's the reality. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. This simple realization changes everything. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. In his meditations, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Every time you think something negative, I'm not enough, I always fail, I can't do this, pause and remind yourself, that's not me. That's just a thought passing through." When you create this separation, your inner world starts to quiet. Thoughts lose their control because they no longer define you. Imagine watching a storm from inside your home. You hear the thunder, see the lightning, but you remain safe behind the glass. That's how you must view your thoughts. Temporary storms in the sky of your mind. The mistake most people make is stepping into the storm, trying to control it, and getting lost in it. The Stoic doesn't do that. The Stoic observes, understands, and lets go. Negative self-thinking thrives on emotional attachment. The more attention you give those thoughts, the more they grow. The Stoics knew this. They trained themselves to pause and ask, is this thought helping me or harming me? If it harms, it's dismissed. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Most of your suffering isn't real. It's imagined, built from the mind's habit of overthinking, exaggerating, and assuming the worst. So how do you rewire this? You begin with awareness. Start noticing the voice in your head without judgment. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," reframe it. "I'm learning how to do this." When you think, "I'm not worthy," replace it with, "I'm becoming stronger." This isn't fake positivity. It's perspective control. The Stoics weren't about pretending life was good. They were about interpreting it correctly. The moment you realize that your thoughts are simply suggestions, not commands, you reclaim your freedom. You stop reacting emotionally to every idea your mind throws at you. You begin to lead your thoughts instead of being led by them. That's real power. That's Stoic mastery. Rule 2. Control what you can. Release what you can't. Negative thinking often comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. You worry about outcomes, other people's opinions, mistakes you can't undo, or futures that haven't even happened. The Stoics called this mental poison the disease of attachment. Epictetus said it best. Some things are in our control, and others are not. The moment you separate these two, peace begins. Think about it. How much time do you waste replaying conversations, overanalyzing decisions, or fearing events that never occur. Every second spent on what's outside your control drains your energy from what is in your control: your effort, your mindset, your response. The Stoic doesn't waste time trying to command the wind. He adjusts his sails. When you face a setback, your instinct might be to panic, blame, or spiral into negativity. But the Stoic response is calm acceptance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This isn't passive surrender, it's intelligent action. The Stoic knows he cannot change the rain, but he can prepare his roof. He cannot stop time, but he can use it wisely. When you stop trying to control life, life stops controlling you. You begin to focus on your choices, your habits, your discipline, the things within reach. That's how the Stoics built emotional resilience. They didn't avoid struggle. They mastered their response to it. Every disappointment became a lesson. Every obstacle, an opportunity. Marcus didn't ask, "Why did this happen to me?" He asked, "How can I use this?" That shift in perspective destroys negativity instantly. Practice this rule every day. Whenever you catch yourself worrying, pause and ask, "Is this within my control?" If yes, act. If no, release it. Don't wrestle with fate. Flow with it. The Stoic finds peace not in perfection, but in alignment with nature's flow. Once you accept that you can't control everything, you stop fearing everything. Rule 3. Stop comparing, start becoming. One of the most dangerous habits fueling negative thinking is comparison. You scroll through social media, see someone your age living a better life, and suddenly you feel behind, unworthy, or invisible. The Stoics saw this as a disease of the ego, comparing your private struggles to others' public masks. Epictetus warned, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, focus on your own growth, not on how you appear next to others. Comparison blinds you to your progress. You forget where you started, what you've overcome, and how far you've come. Stoicism teaches that fulfillment isn't found by measuring your path against others, but by aligning it with your values. Marcus Aurelius didn't compete with other emperors. He competed with his own potential. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." You can't become your best self if you're constantly distracted by someone else's highlight reel. Every mind grows at its own pace. Every journey has its own timing. The Stoic mindset is to detach from external measures of success and focus only on inner improvement. Ask yourself daily, "Am I better than I was yesterday?" If yes, that's victory. Comparison fuels self-doubt, but focus fuels progress. The Stoic doesn't look sideways. He looks inward. He understands that envy is just admiration without gratitude. So instead of resenting others, he learns from them. If someone is ahead, he studies their discipline. If someone falls behind, he helps them rise. Rewire your mind to celebrate your own path. Track your growth quietly. Let your progress be your proof. Because the truth is, no one can compete with you when you're focused on becoming better than your past self. The Stoic doesn't want to be the best. He wants to be his best. That's how you end the endless loop of self-doubt and negativity, by realizing that your only competition is the person you were yesterday. Rule 4. Turn setbacks into teachers. When something goes wrong, your first reaction is often frustration, self-blame, or disappointment. You think, "Why me? Why now?" But to the Stoics, there's no such thing as a bad event, only a missed lesson. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, every obstacle is secretly an opportunity. Every setback is a disguised teacher. Think about it. Every time life knocks you down, It's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to instruct you. Each challenge forces you to grow in ways comfort never could. Pain introduces you to patience. Failure teaches humility. Rejection teaches independence. The Stoic doesn't waste energy wishing things were easier. He uses every difficulty as training. Epictetus, once a slave, endured unimaginable hardship, but instead of breaking, he learned control. He realized that while life could take his freedom, it couldn't take his mind. That's the ultimate Stoic transformation. Seeing your trials as lessons written specifically for your growth. When you reframe setbacks this way, negativity loses its grip. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" That shift in perception changes everything. A failed relationship teaches you self-worth. A lost job teaches adaptability. A health scare teaches gratitude. The Stoics didn't believe in suffering for suffering's sake. They believed in extracting wisdom from pain. Try practicing this daily. When something goes wrong, write it down. Then next to it, write what it's teaching you. Over time, you'll start to see a pattern. That everything life takes away is replaced by understanding, strength, and clarity. The Stoic doesn't resent the storm. He becomes the sailor who learns to navigate through it. When you train your mind this way, setbacks stop feeling like punishments and start feeling like preparation. You realize that every difficult moment is forging you into someone unshakable. And once you see that, once you accept that even pain has a purpose, you stop being afraid of it. Because the Stoic knows, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Rule 5. Discipline your inner voice. The loudest war you'll ever fight is the one inside your own head. That inner voice, the one that criticizes, doubts, and questions you, can either destroy you or strengthen you, depending on how you train it. The Stoics knew that a disciplined mind equals a peaceful life. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Your thoughts are habits. The more you allow your inner voice to speak negativity, the stronger it becomes. That's why Stoics practice self-talk as a discipline. They spoke to themselves as teachers, not bullies. When fear whispered, they answered with reason. When doubt appeared, they responded with truth. You can do the same. Imagine your mind as a garden. Negative thoughts are weeds. They grow fast and wild if left unchecked. Discipline is the gardener that keeps them from taking over. Every time you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not enough," you must pull that weed out immediately and plant a stronger thought. "I am learning. I am growing. I am capable." Seneca wrote, "We become what we think about." Your self-talk sets the tone for your day, your confidence, and your entire emotional state. The Stoic practices awareness, catching harmful thoughts before they take root. It's not about ignoring negativity. It's about redirecting it toward strength. The disciplined mind doesn't indulge in complaints, gossip, or fear. It filters input, controls focus, and feeds on truth. The Stoics even used a technique called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, where they imagined the worst possible scenario to train emotional stability. By facing fears mentally, they robbed them of power. To rewire your mind, speak to yourself the way a Stoic would. Use calm, firm, rational language. When panic hits, say, "This feeling is temporary." When failure comes, say, "This is my training." When anger rises, say, "I control how I respond." The more you repeat truth, the quieter the noise becomes. Discipline your inner voice, and the world outside will never control you again. Because once your mind becomes your ally, there's nothing left to fear. Rule 6. Practice the art of detachment. The Stoics mastered something modern society fears: detachment. Not coldness, not indifference, but emotional freedom. Detachment is the ability to care deeply without being controlled by the outcome. It's about giving your best effort, then letting go. Epictetus said, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and your life will flow well." Negative thinking thrives on attachment. Attachment to success, to approval, to control. You feel anxious because you need things to go a certain way. You feel angry because people didn't behave as expected. You feel disappointed because reality didn't match your imagination. The Stoic breaks this cycle by releasing the illusion of control. He still acts with purpose, but he doesn't cling to results. Think of life like holding sand in your hand. Grip it too tightly, and it slips through your fingers. Hold it gently, and it stays. That's detachment. When you detach, you free yourself from emotional chaos. You still feel, but you don't drown in feeling. You still love, but you don't lose yourself in others. You still dream, but you don't suffer if things change. Marcus Aurelius faced constant betrayal, war, and loss. Yet he remained calm. Why? Because he accepted impermanence. He understood that nothing belongs to us, not even our own lives. Everything is borrowed, temporary, and meant to teach. Detachment is the art of embracing reality without demanding that it serve your desires. When you detach, you stop reacting and start responding. You find peace in uncertainty. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with life. This doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. Because while everyone else is breaking down over what they can't control, you remain unshaken, moving forward with clarity and focus. Detach from the outcome, not from the effort. Give your best. Release the rest. That's the Stoic way. Rule 7. Control what you can. Release what you can't. One of the most life-altering Stoic realizations is understanding that most of what happens in your life is completely out of your control. The weather, other people's opinions, the economy, your past, your genetics, all these things exist outside your direct power. Yet, we waste most of our mental energy worrying about them. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, taught that peace begins when we draw a clear line between what we control and what we don't. You can't control what someone says about you, but you can control how you respond. You can't control whether you'll get every opportunity, but you can control your preparation and effort. When you internalize this principle, your mental focus sharpens. Suddenly, 90% of your worries vanish, because you stop feeding what doesn't matter. The Stoic approach to self-mastery isn't about becoming indifferent. It's about becoming strategic. When you channel all your energy into your own actions, your growth becomes exponential. Every ounce of effort compounds, and over time, you realize how much power you've always had, once you stopped giving it away to things you couldn't change. Rule 8. Turn setbacks into strength. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every obstacle, every disappointment, every painful failure contains the seed of growth. But most people never find it because they're too busy complaining. The Stoic mindset flips the narrative. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Every setback you face is training. When life pushes you down, it's testing your resilience. When people betray you, it's testing your independence. When plans fail, it's testing your creativity. The Stoics believe that the universe isn't against you, it's refining you. Every challenge is a forge, and you are the metal. Each blow is meant to make you stronger, sharper, and more self-controlled. So, the next time life hits you, don't fight the pain, use it. Because the Stoics didn't just survive difficulty, they used it to grow beyond their limits. And that's the ultimate mindset shift. Nothing destroys you unless you let it. Everything else builds you if you choose to see it that way. Rule 9. Focus on progress, not perfection. Perfectionism is one of the biggest traps of the modern mind. We compare ourselves endlessly to others, to ideals, to impossible standards. But the Stoics saw perfection as an illusion. No one is perfect. No one ever will be. The Stoic goal wasn't to be perfect. It was to progress daily. Seneca once said, "No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity." Meaning, those who think they must always be flawless are the ones who collapse when things go wrong. But those who focus on steady improvement can adapt, rebuild, and grow endlessly. The Stoic doesn't chase validation or perfection. He just asks one question: am I better than I was yesterday? That's it. If you were more patient today than you were yesterday, that's victory. If you reacted with calm instead of anger, that's growth. Stoicism teaches that greatness is built quietly, one choice at a time. Every day is a new chance to sharpen your judgment, deepen your discipline, and strengthen your mind. Progress is power, and that's all you need to aim for. Rule 10. Remember, your thoughts create your reality. The final and most powerful Stoic rule is this: you become what you think about most of the time. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Your mind is like a garden. What you plant in it determines what grows. Negative self-talk, fear, envy, anger. These are weeds. If you let them grow unchecked, they'll choke your peace, your confidence, and your clarity. But if you plant discipline, gratitude, and calm, your entire perception of life changes. Stoicism teaches that our suffering doesn't come from events themselves, but from our interpretation of them. You can't control what happens, but you can control the story you tell yourself about it. If you tell yourself you're weak, you'll act weak. If you tell yourself you're capable, you'll rise to challenges. The Stoics weren't just philosophers, they were mental architects. They built their reality from within. And so can you. The moment you master your inner dialogue, you master your life. Because everything begins and ends in your mind.